Our intent is to change the landscape of Jamaica, to put us on the map globally as we deserve to be. Our product is far more supreme than I see in other places where they have far less.
So there's 4 towers of the wildlife and birds around the development: the swallowtail, the canary, the hummingbird, and the phoenix. Each tower has its own level of amenities in terms of gym, lounge areas, pool, cabanas, concierge, tennis courts, basketball courts, golf simulators, cigar bar, cafes, restaurants.
In order to stabilize the construction, we drive concrete tiles down into the ground to the tune of, this is 28 stories, 180 feet down below, in order to stabilize the building.
Now, everywhere is developed. So why we don't have, as a developed country, we should have something like Singapore, Dubai? I will do it first.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another, first of this year, Thursday live stream. And you've probably been keeping up with what's happening with these live streams. And we're doing this with a collaboration with the Realtors Association of Jamaica. And we're going to be doing these every Thursday up until the conference. So I'm happy to be doing these again. I thought we weren't going to be starting these off until we start getting into ThropX, but I figured why not take the opportunity to start them from early. And I think this is a really awesome conference that's coming up that's really going to do well for Jamaica and really push forward our agenda in this community, which is to help grow and move Jamaica forward in the most effective way possible, reaching as many people as possible. So we are doing this series to bring awareness about the conference, of course, and also to use it as an opportunity to bring value and education. So the guests that we have lined up for the next, I guess it's 4 weeks at this point, so call about 4 Thursdays in a row. They're all super experts in their own field in real estate and even outside, as a matter of fact. And I think that there is going to be a lot of valuable information given across as we sit down and have these conversations over the next few weeks. And then it also gives you, the community, an opportunity to ask questions of these experts as we move along and get closer and closer to the conference. If it's not understood, where I will definitely be at the conference. I'm very happy to be there. And so as many of you who do come to the conference, and we're going to have a booth, so we're going to have a ThropX booth there. And so as many of you want to come by, say hello, I would love that. Absolutely love that. I love meeting you all, for those who I've had the opportunity to say hello to, whether it's here or other parts of the world. I think this is a great opportunity for to connect not only with me, but really a lot of real estate experts in the industry, all under one roof. So that's kind of a brief background on these live streams, on these Thursday live streams coming up. The format's going to be a little bit different from our Sunday live streams. We're probably just going to be hopping right into it as we kind of get things going. I like there's a bunch of people telling me where they're chiming in from. Always love to hear where you all are chiming in from, which we'll probably get to that a little bit later. But I do want you all to please, of course, my goal always is to bring as much value as humanly possible. So we're going to save a few minutes at the end for questions. So as we come through, just throw the questions in the comments, and I will save them, and then we'll try to get to them. So in going ahead and getting started, we're going to hop right into inviting our guest onto the stage here. And I want to give a brief background. If you haven't seen the thumbnail that we have up there, we are, in my opinion, I think we're starting off this series with a bang. We have the chairman, of the International Realtors Expo and Conference and Homeowners Expo planning committee. He's the head. He is the chairman and CEO of Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Jamaica, and he's a member of the Realtors Association of Jamaica. I just want to go over briefly a little bit about on his qualifications. He has a diploma in land economy and valuation surveying. He has a diploma in project management, a Bachelor of Arts, an MBA, certified international property specialist, and a resort and second home specialist. And our guest is none other than Mr. Edwin Wint, and I'd like to invite him up here. Can you hear me, Mr. Wint?
Yes, I can.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Welcome to the show. Thank you for taking the time. And I know you have a really busy schedule, and you're tight. And I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you have about 30 to 40 minutes to spend with us this evening.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're gonna keep it super tight then. And I started my stopwatch here. Okay, so I guess let's get right into the meat of the matter, and that is the conference itself. And for those who haven't heard of it or are unaware, can you give us a brief breakdown on what the conference is about and who it's for?
So it's the 18th April through to the 20th, and it's at the Montego Bay Convention Center. So it's a conference and an expo. So the conference has thought leaders giving up-to-date current discussions on all facets of real estate and its impact on the economy and on the GDP of the country. So we're expecting some government leaders as well to kick us off in certain areas. And we have some pretty cool topics coming up. We're looking at real estate in terms of tourism. We're looking at things like sustainable green buildings. We're looking at AI in real estate. We're looking at commercial opportunities in real estate. And some success stories of some, more or less homegrown success stories in real estate in terms of investors. It's a whole plethora of things that we have lined up for the conference. And then for the expo, you'll be able to interact one-on-one with your realtors who have their booths there. You would have other stakeholders, security, banking, finance, home improvement, and other such areas, all the stakeholders who contribute to improving your real estate and your knowledge of everything real estate.
And I'm glad you made the distinction between the expo and the conference itself. And the expo is basically going to be like an expose layout. So there will be different businesses that have their booth set up, and it's an opportunity for you to go around the expo floor to have conversations, meet, and network. Do I have that correct?
Correct. And invariably, some of the providers will have demonstrations. Let's say it's tiling, show you best way to lay your tiles, all of that sort of thing. Some of it hands-on, some of it just have people in the background, information, knowledge, pamphlets, everything else, how to improve your curb appeal.
And who would you say the expo is for, and who would you say the conference is for?
So the conference is for everybody. More so realtors, developers, bankers, and anyone who's an investor in real estate or who wants to get into real estate. They want a leg up and they want to get on the property ladder. So, it's your opportunity to come and learn about what's happening. Also, academics who want to come and have discussions, because we'll have a lot of panel discussions, a lot of topics that are there. And we have a rich set of resource people and the panel from movers and shakers who are knowledgeable, who have been doing a lot of real estate as well, attorneys and other stakeholders who will all be there. And we'll have representation from our National Association of Realtors in the US, headquartered in the US, who will be coming as well. You will also be able to meet one of our sister real estate boards out of Turks and Caicos. The president should be there, and so on. So it's a wide cross section of people. Also, you'll have photo op opportunities with several government leaders who will be there. Okay, and it will be really interesting.
Excellent, excellent. I know I'm definitely looking forward to it, especially from an education perspective. And you sit in a very unique position, not only with you in the leadership positions that you currently hold, but also in your experience in the real estate market. And could you give us your perspective on the current state of Jamaica's real estate market?
Okay, so I think I kind of got into the professional aspect of real estate from 1993. So that puts me a little over 30 years, 31 years, I think. And I served on the Realtors Association of Jamaica board for about 25 years. I had 2 3-year terms as president. Now, what I'm seeing, I'm saying over 31 years of my experience, I think we are almost poised for a paradigm shift. We're seeing almost like a paradigm shift in real estate in Jamaica. What do I mean by that? Okay, so Jamaica has always been hot for real estate, yes? But what about foreign direct investment? You know, in high-end, say, luxury. To what extent was Jamaica taking its part in that? I recall a few years back, the first exposition that the RAJ did when I was in my first term as president, I was over 10 years ago. There was the Rob Report, which puts out pretty fancy reports on real estate across, they did the Caribbean, they did a feature on the Caribbean. And when I thumbed through, in the content, it said Jamaica was there. When I thumbed through, I couldn't find it. I went through 4 or 5 times. The reason was, it only had Golden Eye in there for half a page. And, St. Lucia and other countries had 3 pages with 6 different properties with, villas and marinas and golf courses and what have you. Jamaica is just now taking its rightful place in that end of the market, the resort and second home and luxury real estate. So you will notice, especially in the West and on the North Coast, that we're getting in that area. Now, I will also add that what we're experiencing now is a lot of foreign nationals, foreign direct investment coming in to invest in real estate in Jamaica, both in terms of as a developer, as well as buying ready-made real estate for investment and for to earn income stream from rentals. Now, with the short-term rental market, then it makes it even more attractive. Jamaica is one of the hottest destinations right now for content, especially for social media. But it's also getting really hot for real estate. And this is, maybe I'd say over the last 5 years, it has been just increasing year on year. And so you're seeing a lot more interest in investors investing in, for example, in Montego Bay area with high-rise luxury end stuff, and it has evolved a lot in the past 5 years. If you went back over 10 years ago, you would only be able to talk about Half Moon and a few other stuff that we did back in the 50s. So Jamaica is now taking back its rightful place in terms of that end of the market.
Can I
And one of the
interrupt?
things we'll also be discussing is
Mhm.
affordable real estate, because we can't leave that out. Yeah.
And sorry to interrupt you, but can I ask you, why do you believe that this has happened in the last 5 years, this uptick in just this high interest in Jamaican real estate and Jamaica as a whole, but then not only the uptick, but like the rate at which the foreign direct investment is coming in and the rate at which the high rises are coming, I'll just leave an open question in that regard for you.
Well, foreign investors tend to look at your macroeconomic numbers. And with the foreign rating agencies upgrading Jamaica year on year, that's one of the big catalysts for it. Also, freedom of movement of capital, availability of foreign exchange, ownership, property ownership, that foreigners can own real estate in Jamaica. It is a long checklist, and we've been ticking the boxes, and we continue to tick the boxes. A stable workforce, English speaking, all of the above. And our tourism numbers are growing, as you know, and that the tourists are coming, they're looking, they're liking what they're seeing, and they're saying, I'd like to have something, a piece of this.
Mhm.
So it's kind of evolving in that way. But the fundamentals are also a catalyst. Yeah.
Okay, now that makes perfect sense. I just released the trailer. You mentioned high rises on the North Coast. I just released a trailer for a video that I'm producing and working with the Pinnacle,
Yes.
and that is a landmark development not only for Jamaica but for the Caribbean. And I'd just like to get your opinion on what you think that a development of that nature will mean for Jamaica now and then also the future of Jamaica.
Well, it's a very topical question and subject. And my own position on it is great kudos for those investors with the vision and the courage to have done it. And I think that if it's done properly, um, it's going to do great. And in another 10 years, when you're having this same conversation, you'll be looking back and saying, wow, how great it was. You know, the first year or two, it's never going to be peaches and roses. Yes,
Right.
you have to look medium, 5 to 10, and you're going to see and look back and say, yeah. Unless we have some shocks, you know, major shocks, global shocks, it's going to really do well. Yeah. But I'll
And
say this:
mhm, yes.
don't invest in it unless you have enough reserve. Don't expect a miracle in 12 months. It's going to take
Right.
more than that, but it's going to be great.
I agree. Great advice. Great advice. And you had mentioned affordable housing. And on my channel here, we feature a variety of different types of real estate. And some people say that I tend to focus more on the luxury aspect, but I think in terms of conversation, we really do talk a lot more about and have a lot more focus on the average Jamaican. And I believe, like, I'll speak for here in the West and the Grill specifically. Like, we do have um, a bit of a housing crisis. We don't have enough inventory here, and the demand is really high. And especially when you look at our workers here, so many of them, they're commuting. Probably a minimum of close to 40 minutes to get to and from work for most people. And so, if there is somebody who is interested in affordable housing and developing affordable housing, where would we point them? What direction would or could we point them in?
Well, if you're buying and you're looking for existing stock, it's kind of
Mhm.
more focused in Trelawney and St. Catherine and adjoining parishes. It's going to happen in St. Thomas more and more as well because of the improved road network. But as an investor, I I recently did some valuation work because we're also valuers and property managers. I did some valuation work in Negril in a gated community, a land subdivision, and I looked at the prices and I said, you know, these prices when I compare them with other more sort of comparable type, I'm saying, but the prices are good. And then you have other lands, you know, in and around that's not maybe gated, but available lands that one could buy and invest in. And I'm wondering, why are we not having more? There's some, and there's some that's being done as we speak. And I know the NHT they have some lands down there that they're looking at. Okay, but I'm wondering. I mean, it's like a no-brainer. Um, you know,
Yeah.
one could easily quantify how many homes one could sell within a certain price range in and around, Negril and the immediate environs. going all the way back to Little London because it's a hop and a skip. And it's a no-brainer, really. I think it's because just like what a friend of mine told me, they were on a flight to Jamaica a few years ago when, there was a lot of violence. And they were speaking to the, person across from them in the aisle. Person said, so what are you going to Jamaica? No, they said, no, they're not going to Jamaica. They're going to Negril. Negril is a whole different place. And I don't know why the investors treating it just like that. But it's not Negril proper because the land values are higher. But just on the outskirts of Negril, there's a lot of land that one could easily invest in doing low income and middle income housing.
I think I agree. It doesn't have to be in Negril. I think Little London is the perfect amount of time and distance away from Negril proper to do a development of that nature. And then you think about, we have this high need now, 2024, and we literally have thousands on thousands of hotel rooms that are in the process of being built. And I always think, where are those folks, those workers, where are they going to come from? Where are they going to live? So I think it's an incredible opportunity. And you would know, like you said, these valuations are pretty affordable. They make sense, at least dollar and cents wise.
Yes, it's just that in a lot of cases, what I have found is some of our investors and developers tend to follow and not lead. And so you're waiting on somebody else and then you'll follow. What they need to do is lead. Let the fundamentals lead them in the right direction. Do the right market research and push out. In fact, it's a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm. I think so. I would love to see something of that nature on this side sooner rather than later. Switching up a little bit there. I have one of my team members. She recently passed her, I don't know if I should be telling everybody, but they passed their realtor's licensing exam, which is very exciting for her, and I'm very happy for her. And my questions in regards to that is, like, what advice would you have for a young realtor that is just getting into real estate here in Jamaica, and they want to make this their career? This has been their dream, and they're just getting started.
So I would say join a company that has a broker that can teach you things, that can inspire you and be a mentor, and that knows enough to be able to impart and willing to impart and spend the time to invest in you. Oftentimes, they just come and they're thrown in the deep. But there is a lot of opportunities. I just spoke to one of my newest recruits yesterday, and we had the same conversation. And I said to him, look, you must figure out, where do you want to operate? Do you want to operate in a corporate area, or do you want to operate? Where do you want to operate? Okay, so that's one question you need to ask and answer yourself. Then you need to look at which end of the market. Are you going to segment the market that you want to deal with? There's a lot happening in the North Coast. There's a lot happening in the West. There's a lot happening all the way to Portland. So again, which geographic areas do you want to cover? And then, based on your strengths and weaknesses, are you more suited for commercial real estate or just residential? What about land for development, lots for So there's so many different segments that you can look at as a realtor. While you can be a generalist, okay, but you should target an area or two that you can be very good at, and it will work for you. But sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years to figure out how the thing works. You need a broker, and we're recruiting right now, so I put that out there, who can explain to you exactly what it is, how it works, so that you can get on the ladder, the learning curve, reduce that curve, so that you can make a meaningful start. You'll have enough information to know how to strategize. That's very important. But you can do it. And I always say, If it's your only source of income, mix it with some rentals for your cash flow.
Mm.
I'm not going to give out all the tips now. They need to come and join me first. But yeah,
Right.
it's good. It can work. There's enough. There is enough, and it's not enough. It's not being served enough, I would say.
Oh
But
wow,
if you look
really?
at
Okay.
some parishes,
Hmm.
some parishes are overserved, yes, and some are underserved. So there's enough to go around. You might need to relocate.
That
But
that was actually my next question, because me and my friend was having a discussion, and we find that there are, at least on social media, there's so many realtors, and I was going to ask, do you think that the market is oversaturated with real estate experts? But it seems like you don't believe that. You say you think that there is a lot of opportunity out there.
yes, because as I said, there's some areas that being overserved and some being underserved.
Hmm.
So if you look at it in the round, yes, and also if you segment the market and you're operating within certain segments, everybody shouldn't be operating identical to the next. So there are ways of carving out your niche, and it can work.
Okay, good to
And
know.
if you want to save yourself 2 or 3 years to learn, give me a call.
Oh, there you go. Okay, excellent. Now we're gonna get your contact info in a second. My guest is Edwin Wint. He is the chairman of the IREC and Homeowners Expo Planning Committee, and we are preparing in a month from now for the International Realtors Expo and Conference in Montego Bay on April 18th to April 20th. So we only have a few more minutes with Mr. Wint. So if you have any questions, I see a couple. Please get them in, and we'll do that in about 2 minutes. My last question for you, Mr. Wint, is the National Realtors Association in America. They recently seemingly took a pretty big blow by um, a regulatory judgment, and it seems like it's really going to change the landscape of real estate in America. And I guess two-part question, like what do you think about that? And then two, do you think that that could have any effect on the real estate industry market here in Jamaica?
Okay, so I think how I'd respond to that is to say we operate within Jamaican law,
Hmm.
and we have our regulators here, which is the Real Estate Board. And we also have other bodies, regulatory bodies such as the Fair Trading Commission and the RAJ. We've had interface with the Fair Trading Commission on the whole thing of commissions and other such matters of fair trading. And we have had about 3 meetings, and we have had to make presentations and what have you. And at the end of it, okay, it was held that we have a clean bill of health in terms of our laws and the provisions that we are operating within the provisions. And so therefore, I don't see much fallout from what's happening over there that's happening here. We don't fix commissions in Jamaica, for example. Okay. There's a range, and there's no limit to say what that range is. But the usual range is anywhere between, I'd say, 2.5, 3 for large developments to up to 6%. If you're going up into way up in the hilltops, right? That takes you 2.5, 3 hours in your SUV to get there. Okay. Then one can negotiate, and you're going to say, well, based on all of this, I need to charge you 6%. And that's pretty regular for 6%. So
Hmm.
again, we don't fix commissions, and so we don't
Okay.
have that problem. And we have tested our operations with the MLS and with everything else, how we do everything, and we got a clean bill of health. So I don't see us going down that road. But who knows? So we're following it, and we're ensuring that we are on top of it.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. All right, we got one question here from the audience. This is from Janice. She says, they say, good evening. Can you speak about if the Jamaican real estate market will improve price transparency? I'm not sure in which context they're asking, but I'll just leave you to interpret it
What
how
was
you'd
it? What
like.
was it? Price transparency?
Price transparency, yes.
I am not sure what price transparency what the person is referring to there. But I would say that again, there is an asking price, which is a list price, and then there are negotiations.
Right.
I'll tell you this. Repeatedly, we've had listings, and let's just use a figure, 42 million. And we end up with maybe, 5, 6 bids, offers on the property. And the final bid might have moved from 42 to 43. So it's upwards. Sometimes it's downward, sometimes it's upward. So I don't know if there's a challenge with transparency. I don't have to talk in the developers with their development, but again, they're investors and they know what input costs are and what profit they need to make. And they come to the market and you have the option of buying or not buying. So I'm not too sure if I'm hitting the mark with answering that question.
Okay. And I have two comments here more than questions, and I'll kind of put them in the same boat. So Kuya and Alfred, they're basically talking about the follow up in their experience. They're having a lack of follow up with realtors and not having good customer service. And if that is the issue that somebody's experiencing, what would be their recourse as to, they want to buy a property, but they're calling their realtor that they're dealing with, but for whatever reason, the realtor is not getting back to them?
Okay, so if it's a listing that's on the multiple listing service, which is an MLS listing, then they can switch to another broker who is a practicing member through the Realtors Association of Jamaica on the MLS, and they can service them for that same property. So they have a choice of selecting their brokers from that point of view. And the only time you get locked in is when it's it's not an MLS listing. It's a non-exclusive or an exclusive to a broker is not on the MLS. Once it's on the MLS, then all 50 odd brokers have it on their website. All 1,500 realtors have access to that property. It's the most efficient way of marketing real estate. And if it's like a piece of land, let's say the coastal piece of land, it's not fenced, the selling agent can just take the client there, look at it, and the listing agent just sees an offer coming in. So it's quite efficient and it works. It works. I think the market works pretty well. Now, especially that we've had the MLS, it has taken a lot of the uncertainty out of the transactions. Prior to that, some transactions were quite litigious, and it was not as efficient as it is now. You're listing with one broker, okay, and 1,500 realtors on boots on the ground are working on your property. So it can't get better than that.
Okay, I think that's good advice. I know you have to run, Mr. Wint. Where can people find out more information on you, your business, and perhaps contact you if they would like?
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. And so your contact info or your social media info, whichever you like to give out.
Okay, so I give my my mobile number. It's 383-9464. You can email me at ewint@bhgjamaica.com, or you can send it to info@bhgjamaica.com. And our website is there. You can go on the website and you can get to us straight from the website. But I have no problem in fielding your calls if you feel like calling me directly.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put that up there. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much for taking time out your busy day to join us. And
I hope that all your viewers will come next month to our IREC in Montego Bay. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome, and I'll see you next month.
Okay.
All right,
Bye-bye.
take care. Bye bye. Oh, that was great. Thank you all for your questions and your comments. Always appreciate it. Mr. Wint's contact information is right there, and as you said, he is open to taking your calls. His phone number again is 876-383-9464, and his email is ewint@bhgjamaica.com. So feel free to reach out to him. And like I said, I'm definitely going to be at the expo for sure. I didn't mention it, but I forgot to mention it. I'm also giving a presentation there as well at the conference. So if you want to join, either or all, please feel free. I think if you're interested in real estate in Jamaica, I think this could be a great one, especially if it lines up with your schedule. You're going to be in the area. Why not come in? And you can get more information at the website there, which is irec.realtorsjamaica.org. So that was cool. And I'm happy that I'm doing these. I'm always going to learn. I wish I had more. Like when I sit down with somebody like a Mr. Wint, like I just have so many questions like running in my head, and I wish we had like the time of a podcast. I'm sure I could sit down with him for 2 hours and we can extract tons and tons of information from him. But we got the 30 minutes in, I'll take it. I'll definitely take it. I want to show. I opened up the live stream now with the trailer that for Sunday's release, which is the Pinnacle. I'm going to play it again, and it kind of plays to some of the things that we were talking about. So let's play it. It's just about a little over a minute.
Our intent is to change the landscape of Jamaica, to put us on the map globally as we deserve to be. Our product is far more supreme than I see in other places where they have far less.
So there's 4 towers of the wildlife and birds around the development: the swallowtail, the canary, the hummingbird, and the phoenix. Each tower has its own level of amenities in terms of gym, lounge areas, pool, cabanas, concierge, tennis courts, basketball courts, golf simulators, cigar bars, cafes, restaurants.
In order to stabilize the construction, we drive concrete tiles down into the ground to the tune of, this is 28 stories, 180 feet down below, in order to stabilize the building.
Now, everywhere is developed. So why we don't have, as a developed country, we should have something like Singapore, Dubai. I will do it first.
Yeah, so that's the trailer for the Sunday release, and I can tell you, we spent pretty much the whole day with a good portion of their leadership team, and it's just like the whole project is just like extremely innovative. And I would say one of the main innovations, and I'm not trying to like sell the property, but I'm more so like selling the idea of the impact that this is going to and is having on our island, on our country. And even from like their leadership team, it's an all Jamaican, all female leadership team. And from the operations manager to the lead architect to the lead salesperson, like all female, all Jamaican, which is like so awesome, like really, really amazing. And then you get into the innovation of the structure and the development itself. And I took myself out of it a lot, to be honest, out of the video, because I was like, my excitement was definitely shown, because like as they explained more and more about the development and this happening and that happening, and just how basically integrated they want it to be with the Montego Bay community, or at least the direct surrounding community. And I think it's really going to set and is setting a precedent for Jamaica. And it's just so awesome. I think that it's happening here on our island and my home country. And I think this is going to inspire a lot of people. And it's perfect timing. I think this Realtors Conference is a perfect timing. Here on this channel, we've been talking about the real estate boom that's been happening in Jamaica for years at this point. For those of you who have been here for a while, this is like no surprise to you. And I hope that this is just more of an education than anything else. And those who are on the fence or maybe who are already in the market, they're like, man, thing is just getting going. And I really continue to believe that we are still in the very beginning stages of where Jamaica is going, particularly in the real estate realm of things. So very exciting to say the least. Let's hop into some comments here. This is not going to be a long live stream, and I know this is kind of like a surprise, and people weren't expecting the Thursday live stream, but here we are. So we will, continue to get things going over the next few weeks. What's going on? Jeff chiming in from Montreal. And yes, please listen to Winston. Hit that like button. I definitely would appreciate that. Tisha, good to see you. Donna, nice to see you as well. Chiming in from Ottawa. Cherie, hello. Wagwan, Phil. Twin Star. Thank you for chiming in. Chanel watching from Toronto. Good to see you. Gareth said, scared money don't make money. Yep, that's right. What's going on, Inga, baby? Good to see you. Hi, Andrea. How are you? Thanks for chiming in. Glad you found it interesting. What's going on, Andrew? And then dropping in to say hello. Won't be on the live, but we'll watch later. Okay, cool. This was a pretty good conversation. Seema on the move. Good to see you. And Tisha says, nice. Can't wait to see the video. Yeah, it's a good one. And I hope you can see why it took me about a month to get this thing out. You know, it was a beast of an edit. I'll say the least. It was a beast of an edit, but it's great. It's just so great. And I know I'm not just saying that because I made it and I was there and I documented it. It's just great for Jamaica in so many ways, and I'm honored that I was able to capture it on like the ground level. But we're going to be discussing it in detail. Won't give too much away on Sunday during the premiere and then on the live stream as well. And as I'm saying that, the live stream on Sunday, I know I talked about it, I think, the previous Sunday, but this Sunday we are having, I was saying I have the Dominican Republic, DR equivalent of me coming on as a guest. We got a couple of pretty good guests coming on, not only on these live streams on Thursdays, but also on Sundays for the next couple of live streams. So we're gonna be. So what he does is basically sells. I wouldn't say sells. Let me back up. How I started following him was somehow he came up on my feed on Instagram, and he was like defending the Dominican Republic. And he's not from there originally, but he lives there now with his wife and his family. And he was like saying the same thing that I say about Jamaica, particularly in the real estate market, particularly in the lifestyle aspect, compared to living in the States. And so he's actually from New York as well, born there, and moved around the States for a little bit. But again, I'll save that for Sunday. And I'm like, man, this guy is speaking my language, you know? And I'm just like, let me reach out to him and like, let's see if we can do a collaboration on just learning about the challenges that he faces in the DR, and in exchanging the challenges that I face here in Jamaica, and then also the opportunities more than anything else. And there's just a lot of naysayers out there and a lot of negative, sensationalized information being tossed around, both about the DR and also Jamaica. And he's saying, like, you guys are crazy. Like, how could you not hop in on these opportunities that are happening here and be just distracted by just shiny objects that really just at the end of the day, I don't think it's gonna matter much, at least for you as an individual, right? And so I decided to reach out to him and ask him to come on the show and just learn and exchange information. And I'm also going to go on his platform as well. So I'm so excited to have him come on. And he has a podcast as well called Tribe of Millionaires, which I've been just taking in as much as I can. It's really, really good. Again, we don't want to give away too much, but that's going to be our guest on Sunday. And his name is Jamie Gruber, by the way, Jamie Gruber. And we're going to also, of course, be talking extensively about the Pinnacle video as well, when we release it on Sunday. So it's exciting content coming up, I would say, and live streams coming up. Tisha says, is he Dominican heritage? I'm not sure. I guess I'll find out on Sunday. Joshua says, tuning in from the UK, going to send you a message on IG. Okay, cool. I will look out. Vivian says, very informative. Trisha says, hello from Emerald Bay, Bahamas. Learned a lot from this. Thank you. You're very welcome. Thanks for chiming in. Tisha says, real estate gets me so amped. Yeah. Same. And I think we're just, all of us collectively, I think the time period that we're in, we're just in such a beautiful position. And then also hopefully having collective awareness of the opportunity that lies before us. Kuya says, the development that is happening in JA is amazing. Yeah, it is. It's crazy. Denise says, hi, Throp, chiming in from Alberta, Canada. Kuya says, what do you think about the record-breaking tourist numbers for January and February of this year? Yeah, we felt it. I mean, I would say as a hotel and even as a community, Negro community, when you speak to other hoteliers, like when we look at our forecasting numbers, you're just like, wow. And it's great. I mean, it's great for the tourism industry, and it continues to do. Those numbers continue to go up, and you're seeing more players come into the fold as far as hospitality, hotel investment, which is great, which is amazing. The unfortunate thing, I will say, as I talked about the forecasting that we were seeing leading into, particularly 3 months out, leading into January, February, is that now looking at the forecasting forward, it's not looking that good. And particularly, this was because of the travel advisory. And could this still be a record year? For sure. But like when you think about the pace that we were on before this travel advisory, like it was crazy. And so if you haven't already, then I think this is a great opportunity. If you have not already seen Jamaica with Iris, I mean, I want to do a react video to her video alone. Let me see. I'm gonna put that up there right away. I mean, she did a masterful job on debunking the travel advisory. Like you gotta watch this. Hold on. Let me just put it in the comments here. Hold on. Is this the one I watched? She has 2 out. I'm going to post this on my community page. Like it is a must watch. I mean, she just made them look so stupid with just their own information, and it was just so contradicting the methodology and the logic in which they were using. And I was like, just be prepared to be extremely, if you haven't seen it already, just be prepared to be extremely mad. Like my blood was boiling when I was watching this thing, because I couldn't believe, because you knew, at least being here when the travel advisory went out, like everybody just looked at each other like, what the hell? Like, where did this come from? Like there was nothing that happened, nothing sparked anything. You know, we're here on the ground, and sometimes you hear a murmur or a rumor, and nothing, just out the blue, we get this elevated travel advisory. And everybody was mad at that. But then you couple that, your experience, with like the intimate knowledge and information that Jamaica with Irie brought to the table, and you're like, this is crazy. She didn't go into too much speculation as to, you know, why, and I thought that was smart, you know, or what the agenda may be for that, as to why somebody would make such, I think, and especially from her reporting, making a very silly decision, like really silly, and it makes makes them look very foolish, to be honest. And so at least she brought like the information to hand on what this thing is, and it just gets me very 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 upset. So anyway, long story short, the like with that, like because of the travel advisory, tourism forecasting, at least from our hotel and the hotels that I spoke with, has gone down. So it's a little disheartening. So we're kind of performing behind the eight ball a little bit in that regard. But I think it's great that we were in this position for the winter, and so many people, and I think new people, have been exposed to Jamaica and enjoying Jamaica. So it's a great thing. Joshua says, thanks for all the content. I've connected with a number of your guests, Kerry Wiggins, Felicia, etc. Awesome. I'd love to hear that. That really makes me happy. It makes me smile, because that's what it's about, making these very, very important connections. Alfred says, I purchased a home in Jamaica, and it's taken so long for me to get the key. As an American, the number one thing I will say is to get an attorney and get your spot of peace. Yes, get a great attorney, get a real estate attorney. I've heard people do it successfully without attorneys, and I've heard many stories about. And when I say it's that's purchasing a piece of property, or purchasing an apartment, purchasing a home. People have done it successfully, but I've also heard probably many more horror stories of not having the right attorney or no attorney, and you just being caught up in court litigation, red tape for years. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to be dealing with a problem that you thought would take 3 to 6 months, a problem or an opportunity that you thought would take 3 to 6 months to close on. And all of a sudden, this becomes, a 5, 7, 10-year situation that you're involved in. So let's all try to avoid situations of that nature and get the right people, right professionals in place. And I think a lot of those right people and right professionals have been guests of mine, which I'm very lucky and proud to say. Sherry says her video was spot on. She presented facts to back up everything. Yep. And she most certainly did. Alfred says, yep, I saw it. It opened my eyes. Also, she was great. Yeah, she gem. Seriously, she's a gem. That video is a gem. Please, I would highly, highly encourage you to watch it if you haven't. Trisha says, I watched it and sent it to my friends to watch. I agree. She is amazing at what she does. Donna Bryce says, Ari always has her research and facts. Andrew Blake says, Jamaica with Ari, enough respect for debunking the lies. 100%. And I think this is something that we all need to share. It just doesn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense. Denise Robinson says, I'm planning on a move back to Jamaica in 3 years. So I've been soaking up all your videos. Thanks for your content. You're very welcome. Thank you. That makes me feel really special that you're getting a lot of value out of it. Excuse me. Kuya Cuddy says, have you seen all the improvements JA is making in healthcare? They are building so many hospitals and highways. It's so crazy. Negril is scheduled to get 4 additional highways. Yeah, it's I don't want this train to stop. I will say that, the direction that we're heading in, the investment, I just hope that this keeps going. And I hope that the Jamaican populace has the patience and wherewithal to kind of go through this teething process. Because I know, and we saw in the last election, not to get political, but there is an elevated level of frustration and impatience, and it's understandable. I in my opinion, I think it's understandable. But in that same vein, it's also when we look at the facts about what's happening and where we're going to be as a country in 5 or so years from now, I think it's going to be very, very different from an infrastructural standpoint. And I hope somebody, and it's probably not going to be me, but I hope somebody can put together almost like a media visual document of where we were 10 years ago and where we are now, and then where we will be in 5 years from now. Do it in 5 years or so. The landscape is just changing so rapidly. It's changed so much since I first moved here, and the momentum is continuing to uptick in the more recent years, and I think it's going to continue to get faster and faster and faster and faster. But nonetheless, there are still a lot of people who are very frustrated with their circumstances and are looking for help, and that needs to be acknowledged and that needs to be addressed in a strong way. But I believe, my opinion, the future looks so incredibly bright, again, from the perspective of where I was when I moved here in 2006 and where I'm now. That, damn, we're going to be like 20 years and 2 years from now, which is crazy. So crazy, so crazy. All right, let's keep going here. We're gonna wrap up shortly here. Kenta Stevens says, a new follower checking in from DC. Watch a few of your videos and very insightful. I also actually followed Jamie Gruber and thought about you guys' similarities before. Glad you both are collaborating. Well, look at that. That's awesome. Yeah. Who would have thought, Jamaican YouTuber and content creator, and that of somebody living in the Dominican Republic. But I think I think it's important. And I want to do that with other countries as well. I wanted you, I reached out, I pitched this idea to Jamie as well about there's like a few YouTubers that I follow in Colombia, like in doing my research. And when I went to Colombia, like following a bunch of these guys, and they talk about, there's so many different things about Colombia, but also the investment part of investing in Colombia and living there. And I think it would be so cool to get them on this live stream as well and talk to them and get understanding, compare notes, because I think that we can learn so much from each other, not just as content creators, but also as investors and also as people who have the best interest of our countries at heart and want to see the country develop and our respective countries develop and want the best for our kids. And so if we can learn a little bit from what Jamie is doing in Colombia, and Jamie is doing in Dominican Republic, or the folks I was alluding to in Colombia, and they can learn a little bit about Jamaica. To me, it's just like making things all around collectively better, And I know we talk a lot about different comparisons to different countries, and there are positives and negatives of living, investing anywhere, and everybody has their own red lines in that regards. And it's a matter of, to me, doing your research on whether your red line it's crossed in Jamaica, or maybe it's crossed in Colombia, or maybe it's crossed in DR, or maybe you found a utopia that we don't know about. But there's always positives and negatives anywhere you go, no matter what. Kenta also says, keep sharing your knowledge and keep the people informed, bro. Will do. Donna Bryce says, I sent her video to several groups of visitors. I think that's great. Andrew Blake says, respect to you, Throp. I always saw you bigger than the grill. Keep on selling Jamaica. It's great here. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the kind words, Andrew. All right. I think we're going to wrap it up there. Learn, grow, invest. Good to see you. Thanks for hopping on. I feel like I had one more announcement, but that's it. I can't remember. But anyway, get your look into the real estate conference, International Realtors Expo conference and Expo next month. The whole team is going to be there. I think that's going to be fun. We don't get together physically a lot, so when we have the opportunity, it's usually ThropX. So this will be twice this year we're getting together physically. So we'll all get together physically for the conference, and then ThropX. And yeah, ThropX tickets is going on sale next week. I know I said this week, but got a lot going on. Trust me, there is even more coming that we've been working on outside of content. So can't wait to get that out to you all and announce it and everything like that. And yeah, let's get going. Learn, grow, assist. Thanks for the encouragement the other day. Much appreciated. Absolutely. Always here to uplift Jamaica, even on especially I would say on the content creation side of things. You're welcome, Tisha. Okay, we're gonna call it there. I will see you all on Sunday on the live stream. It should be fun. We'll be there with Jamie. Have a good evening, everyone, and I'll see you in a few.